This is Atlantic Television Network. Welcome to Global News. First, the highlights. Fubara urges capacity building for corps members in Rivers. Tinubu writes Senate for confirmation of new INEC chairman. Reps plan to end ASU FG face-off. Nigeria secures $2 billion shale gas project. Gas explosion kills 3 police officers in Italy. Nigeria Super Eagles top Benin with 4 goals. Taylor speaks on film, song, debut. Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has charged the 2025 Batch B Stream 2 National Youth Service Corps members deployed to the state to use the NYSC Skill Acquisition Training Program to build capacity. Fubara gave the charge when he declared the closure of the 2025 Batch B Stream 2 orientation exercise in the state on Tuesday and represented by the newly sworn-in Secretary to the State Government and Chairman NYSC State Governing Board, Honorable Benibo Anabraba. The governor enjoined the corps members to embrace skill acquisition wholeheartedly to elevate themselves as wealth creators and employers of labor. The governor called on the corps members to see their mobilization into the NYSC scheme as a fundamental way to provide humanitarian services, while in his farewell address, the state coordinator of NYSC, Mr. Moses Olege, appealed to the corps members to use the opportunity of the service year to discover their true purpose. He further encouraged them to embody selfless service and empathy in serving the people, adding that the NYSC is a compulsory post-graduation program established by the Nigerian government under General Yakubu Gowon's military administration to reconstruct, reconcile, and rebuild the nation after the Nigerian Civil War. CP Adepoju has tasked 129 newly passed out police constables from Police Training School, Calabar, Cross River State, on professionalism. The Commissioner of Police, River State Command, CP Olubenga A. Adepoju, who disclosed this while addressing the offices at the state headquarters, Moscow Road, Port Harcourt, admonished them to see their enlistment into the Nigeria Police Force as a professional call to serve the nation and contribute maximally to humanity by judiciously utilizing the knowledge and discipline during the training to better the Nigerian society. A statement signed by the Command PPRO SP Grace Irene Koko said CP Adepoju, while congratulating and wishing them a successful policing career, charged the constables to shun all forms of professional misconduct, including acts of indiscipline, extortion, corruption, illegal duties, as well as human rights violation, amongst others, and further urged them to contribute meaningfully to national development. He warned against any uncomplimentary acts that would attract severe disciplinary measures without hesitation, adding that the newly passed out police constables who were trained on various aspects of policing, adding that the development will be further equipped with the necessary operational skills to enable them carry out their duties effectively and efficiently. CP Adepoju also said the constables are all indigents of Rivers State and will be posted to their respective local government areas of origin, aimed at further strengthening and enhancing community policing initiatives in line with the Inspector General of Police directives, who had assured the constables of his support to enable them make the best of their capabilities. Federal High Court sitting in Port Harcourt has fixed November 14, 2025 as it is filed in the suit filed by a civil society organization, Initiative for Freedom, Conflict Prevention and Social Integration, FREECON, challenging the legality of President Bola Tinubu's declaration of emergency rule in Rivers State. Other defendants in the suit include the Attorney General of the Federation, the former sole administrator of Rivers State, the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, RSIEC, and its chairman, as well as the People's Democratic Party, PDP, which was later joined in the matter. Members of FREECON are asking the court to determine whether by the combined reading and interpretation of sections 197 and 198 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended, the President can, under any guise or circumstance, create or appoint a sole administrator or any other authority to assume or exercise the powers of the governor in the appointment of the chairman and members of RSIEC. The group is also contending that the combined effect of the relevant sections of the Constitution, the appointment of retired Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas as sole administrator, an office they claim is not recognized by the Constitution, does not confer on him the statutory power to appoint the RSIEC chairman and members to organize or conduct elections across the 23 local government areas of Rivers State. The presiding judge, Justice Turaki Mohammed, on Monday fixed the date for judgment after councils representing the parties argued and adopted their final written address. Edo State Governor Monday Okpebholo has sworn in 19 commissioners and several chairmen and members of boards and commissions with a stern warning against corruption and actions that could undermine the integrity of his administration. The swearing-in took place at the Government House, Benin City, and was attended by the Deputy Governor Dennis Idahosa, Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Chief Lateef Fagbemi, the Secretary to the State Government Musa Ikolo, the Chief of Staff Alhaji Gani Audu, serving commissioners, special advisors, heads of ministries, departments and agencies, the permanent secretaries, and other top government officials. A statement by Okpebholo's Chief Press Secretary, Fred Itua, on Tuesday said all appointments were made strictly on merit, and Governor reminded the new appointees that their roles are not rewards, but a call to serve the people of the state, adding that his administration's focus remains on service delivery and tangible results, not propaganda, while urging the commissioners and board members to perform their duties diligently and with dedication. The governor also charged the appointees to see their new positions as an opportunity to contribute meaningfully to the state's development and warned them against corrupt tendencies and further reaffirmed that his global goal is to rebuild and reposition Edo State for sustainable growth, and to demonstrate that government can indeed work for the people, and full commitment to his administration's vision. Abia State Governor Alex Oti has approved the payment of the 16-year backlog of payments due to its deceased staff. The Commissioner for Information, OK Kanu, who disclosed this while briefing newsmen on the outcome of the week's Executive Council meeting chaired by the Governor, said Governor Oti has approved the payment of the backlog of payments to deceased staff of Abia Service, spanning over a period of 16 years. According to him, the approval will come with a payment of over 50 million naira to the families of the 265 deceased workers, which is in line with the government's vision to strengthen the power sector in the state and also drive the economic development of the state, as well as improve the long-anticipated bid to acquire 60% stake of EEDC assets in Abia State, with acceptance of the state government's offer to interstate electricity. He said with the developments, the state, particularly the 8 local government areas being fenced under the arrangement, would experience a better power supply. Communities in Ohafia, Abia State are in grief and bereavement following the confirmation of the death of Ace preacher Reverend Uma Opai, while many churches in Abia State are in a sober mood after the news broke out on Monday. Eyewitnesses said a visit to some communities in Ohafia, including Asaga, his hometown, Ebem, Amepo, and Elu, on Monday, showed some of the indigents in tears, while others were seen discussing the development and with hands folded. The community members described the late preacher as a man who loved his people by attracting development to Ohafia and helping the poor people, adding that he was fearless in telling the truth to the leaders of Abia State and Nigeria at large. While he was alive, statements issued at Ebem Ohafia Development Union of Nkwebi Autonomous Community Ohafia on Monday said they lost an illustrious son who acted with the fear of God all his life, and Reverend Uma Opai, I beg your pardon, was the founder and president of Umuahia Opai Evangelistic Association, Uyu, and died at the age of 80 years. Meanwhile, Governor Alex Oti and his predecessor Okwezi Ikweazu have paid tribute to the late gospel preacher, saying that his death was a big loss to Abia State. About 1,000 aggrieved residents of Umuahia stormed the office of the Enugu Electricity Power Distribution Company, located on Bende Road, to protest against outrageous electricity bills issued to them by the company. They also marched to the Abia State Government House in Umuahia to appeal to Governor Alex Oti to intervene on the crazy bill issue. The protesters, who said they came from different parts of the Abia State capital, complained that the bills for energy consumed in September 2025 were more than 400% higher than what they were charged the previous month, adding that each flat was billed between 40,000 and 60,000 naira or more, including areas where power was not supplied, an astronomical increase from the 10,000 to 12,000 they paid last month. Chanting songs of lamentation and holding placards, the Umuahia power consumers accused Enugu Electricity Power Division Company of attempting to stifle them out of the exercise and vowed not to pay the attention to bills. The protest disrupted activities at Enugu Electricity Power Distribution Company as workers went on the ground on seeing the large crowd pouring into their premises. From the Enugu Electricity Power Distribution Company office on Bende Road, the peaceful protesters marched to the Abia State Government Umuahia in Umuahia, where they were addressed by a senior government official. Police retirees under the auspices of the Association of Retired Police Officers Imo Chapter 5, staged a protest to demand total exit from the contributory pension scheme. The protesters who stormed the police headquarters in Owerri with various placards were received by the State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Aboki Danjuma, and while speaking on behalf of the retirees, the chairman of the chapter, retired SP Amanzi Nwakwe, said the contributory pension scheme had caused several deaths among its members. Nwakwe described the scheme as deadly and obnoxious, and the establishment of a police pension board similar to that of the military, and also expressed the need for the board to cater for the general well-being of all police retirees, adding that the Nigeria Police Force operated multiple pension schemes, and also demanded that 758.9 million naira billion bond for pension liabilities be paid directly to individual retirees' accounts and not through PFAs. He urged President Bola Tinubu to sign in executive order in their total exit from the contributory pension scheme, CP stressing that such an exit is already observed for the military, NTA, DSS, and National Assembly staff, Anambra State Governor Professor Chukwuma Soludo has declared that starting from October 14, 2025, the maximum of fine payable for any offense in the state will be 10,000 naira, regardless of the nature of the offense, adding that the move became necessary as a significant policy change aimed at easing the financial burden on motorists in Anambra State. A statement by Soludo's press secretary, Christian Aborime, on Tuesday said the governor declared this during a town hall meeting in transport stakeholders at the Chuba Ikpeazu Stadium, Onitsha. Decision is part of its broader commitment to fostering a more inclusive and fair governance model that considers the economic realities faced by citizens. He said the Anambra Road Traffic Management Agency will work to designate power boss to stop with proper markings, and also eulogize the group that has been standing pivotal in front of me. Enugu State Governor Peter Mba has defected from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress, The governor made this known at a press conference on Tuesday in Enugu, the state capital, that he is committed to advancing state interest and express confidence in that confidence that APC's platform would provide greater opportunities for collaboration and growth. Mba said his decision is to join the APC was his desire for a visionary partnership that would bring about its transformative change to states and the nation. Mbowa, who was accompanied by his immediate predecessor, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, stated, and female lawmakers, among others, said that decision was not taken lightly, but was necessary to join the people of the stage and align with the party's vision for development and progress. I beg your pardon. Lagos State Government, through its Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency, has inaugurated the Community Dialogue Committee, a strategic initiative aimed at strengthening strengthening grassroots efforts to prevent and respond to sexual and gender-based violence. Is that what you're saying? Speaking at the inauguration ceremony, the Executive Secretary of the SVA, Mrs. Titilola Vivo Adeniyi, represented by Community Engagement Officer Miss Adetu Odumbo, described the initiative as a vital step towards building sustainable community-led systems to combat SGBV across the state to address sexual and gender-based violence through policy advocacy and institutional support. In view of the fact that in recent years, the Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency has led numerous awareness campaigns and interventions aimed at prevention, protection, and prosecution, before Adeniyi said, the primary objective of the CDC is to reinforce community-level structures and would identify response and ensure people appropriately refer to and ensure appropriate referral of SGBV cases, adding that the strategic approach aims to embed support systems with local communities to ensure accessibility and effectiveness. She said the composition of the Community Dialogue Committee was designed to incorporate key community stakeholders, including respected traditional community and religious leader, and the composition of the Community Dialogue Committee was designed to incorporate key community stakeholders like representatives from women's groups, designated youth leaders, and advocates for survivors of Operatives of the Federal Capital Territory Police Command have foiled the planned kidnapping plot and armed attack by suspected bandits in Biazin Forest, a suburb of Abuja, recovering an AK-47 rifle and rounds of ammunition during the operation. The command said the raid was part of ongoing efforts to curb the resurgence of banditry and kidnapping around border communities, particularly in Buwari, Kuje, and Gwagwalada cantons, where security agencies have currently intensified patrols. According to a statement by the FCT Police Public Relations Officer SP Josephine Ade, on Tuesday, the operation was launched after credible intelligence from the force headquarters, a technical intelligence unit, and indicated that a notorious bandit leader identified as Idrissa, also known as Maiduna, had concluded part on plans to launch simultaneous attacks on selected villages around the Biazim Forest axis. The police said the attackers were subdued and forced to retreat into the forest with gunshot wounds, while Commissioner of Police commended the operatives for their gallantry and quick response, adding that their action averted what would have been a major security breach within the Capital Territory. Federal High Court in Abuja on Tuesday dismissed an application by the Department of State Services securing to enable present exhibits earlier rejected in the trial of former National Security Advisor Colonel Sambo Dasuki, retired, over alleged and unlawful possession of firearms. Justice Peter Lefu, in a ruling on the DSS motion filed by its lead counsel, Oladi Pupo, held that the court could not admit the same exhibits it had previously rejected. While at the last hearing on September 25, Okweseyi I had asked the court to move its proceedings in to the DSS headquarters in Abuja to inspect vehicles allegedly recovered from Dasuki's residence during the 2015 execution of a search warrant. He said the vehicles had been parked at the DSS, but this is true. Our headquarters for 10 years should be inspected by courts to facilitate their admission as exhibits against the defendants, and reminded that the same items had been rejected and marked accordingly. While the DSS counsel argued that he made the right choice to represent them for admission, in his ruling, Justice Lifu reaffirmed that the exhibits remain rejected, having been found inadmissible for lack of relevance and proper foundation, and further held that admitting them through the back door, as the prosecution requested, would amount to judicial rascality and politeness, which the court would not condone. Federal Capital Territory Administration has commissioned access roads in Sector Center B by the Kibiu and the District Commission Code of Conduct Tribunal. Commission Code of Conduct of Tribunal, New Abuja Division of the Court of Appeal under construction, and some federal agencies delivering his address at the commissioning ceremony on Tuesday, 14th October 2025. Minister of FCT, Barrister Nyesom Wike, said by the support and leadership of Mr. President, he has achieved completion of the project.
I recollect the day we came here when we were trying to identify where we are going to build the Abuja division of the Court of Appeal. As we were coming, I told my National Secretary that road was commissioned, like the year said, 1st of July 2025, the last second-year anniversary that Mr. President had. Here you have the Police Service Commission, here you have the Court of Conduct Tribunal, and all other federal agencies. The other side you have the Federal Capital Territory High Court. All the roads here were passable. And then I said, how are we going to cite the Abuja division of the Court of Appeal? I thank God today, by the support of His Excellency, Mr. President, by his leadership, it is now a thing of the past. But all the roads here have all been completed. In the next few months, we will be here again. Look at the Court of Appeal division. Look at it there. That is the Court of Appeal division that will soon be inaugurated by Mr. President.
The minister also commended Minister of State, Acting Executive Secretary of FCDA and STDD Coordinator for being very supportive and in exercise of their prompt dedication to work for the success of FCT administration in delivering dividends of democracy to the people.
When you have the right leadership, you can achieve the expected results. Mr. President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Grand Commander of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, has shown the right leadership. And that is why we're able to achieve. People are talking about the achievements we have made. It's because of the right leadership. I'm happy that I have a Minister of State who has been very supportive. It is not easy. It is not easy to have two ministers and work so closely and cooperatively. I was the Minister of State. I knew what happened in other ministries. Without working together, you cannot achieve anything. So, Mr. Honorable Minister of State, I want to commend you and thank you for the support. And also thank particularly the ES, the FCDA through the ES, for your support. Most of the projects we have been commissioning have been under you and the coordinator of STD. Next year, Mr. President, third year anniversary, Nigerians will see what they have never seen before. All I'm pleading with all of you Nigerians, continue to be patient. We'll get to the promised land.
You're watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We will be back after this break. Please stay with us.
These are exciting times for broadcasting in Africa. The National Broadcasting Commission is set to host the 14th Biennial Conference and Exhibition of African Broadcasters, Africast 2025 in Lagos, Nigeria. Participants will experience a week of world-class expositions showcasing the very best in creativity, innovation, and cutting-edge broadcasting technological advancement and trends in the global broadcast media ecosystem. Theme: Navigating the Digital Surge, Building a Resilient Africa Media Ecosystem for the Future. Date: Monday, October 20th to Friday, October 24th, 2025. Venue: Balmoral Convention Center, Sheraton, Ikeja, Lagos, Nigeria. Time: 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily. Visit www.africastexpo.com or email info@nbc.gov.ng. NBC, your right to quality broadcasting. Announcer, Management.
Welcome back, and now to the rest of our stories. President Bola Tinubu has commiserated with the Catholic Church and the Body of Christ over the death of Bishop Emeritus of Catholic Diocese of Ekiti, Most Reverend Michael Olatunji Fagun. Reverend Fagun served as auxiliary bishop of the Old Ondo Diocese from 1971 to 1972 before Pope Paul VI created the Diocese of Ado-Ekiti, while President Tinubu, who sent his condolences to the Fagun family and all those who mourn him, the departed clergyman. President Tinubu prayed that God Almighty will receive Reverend Fagun's soul and grant him eternal rest. President Bola Tinubu has written the Senate seeking the screening and subsequent confirmation of Professor Joash Amopitan, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, as new national chairman of the Independent. The President, in a letter read on Tuesday by the President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, is seeking expeditious consideration and approval by the Senate. Senator Akpabio accordingly forwarded the request to the Committee of the Whole for legislative action as soon as practicable, and Amopitan's name was forwarded to the Senate in line with Section 154(1) of the 1999 Constitution as amended.
For confirmation of appointment of the Chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. In accordance with the provisions of Section 154, subsection 1 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, I am pleased to present for confirmation by the Senate the appointment of Professor Joash Amopitan, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, as Chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Atta Shewi is his curriculum vitae, while hoping that the Senate will consider and confirm the appointment of the nominee in its usual expeditious manner. Please accept, distinguished Senate President, the assurances of my highest consideration. This is referred to the Committee of the Whole for consideration as soon as practicable.
President Tinubu, in another request, through a different letter, sought confirmation of the Senate for the appointment of Mrs. Ayo Omidiran as new executive chairman of the Federal Character Commission, FCC, and 28 others as federal commissioners, one of whom is Dr. Ibrahim Abdullahi from Kwara State.
President of the Senate, distinguished SP, confirmation of appointment of chairman and commissioners of the Federal Character Commission. In accordance with the provisions of Section 154, subsection 1 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, I am pleased to present for confirmation by the Senate the underlisted 39 names of nominees, as one as a chairman and others as commissioners of Federal Character Commission, FCC, as follows. Honorable Mrs. Ayo Uluyat Omidiran from Osun State as chairman. Honorable Obinna Oriaku, Abia State, as commissioner. Mrs. Bema Madai Adamawa as commissioner. Mrs. Eunice Thomas Akwa Ibom State as commissioner. Honorable Noli Nkechi Gloria, PhD, Anambra State, as commissioner. Peter Eze of Enugu State as commissioner.
Brief outrage erupted in the Senate as lawmakers moved to rescue hundreds of women and children trapped in Libyan prisons, describing their ordeal as modern-day slavery. Senators Asukwo Ekpenyong and Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan sought urgent diplomatic action to end the abuse and bring the victims home. The resolution followed a motion moved by Senator Anyekan Basi, Cross River South, who drew attention to the recurring cases of trafficking and slavery and gross human rights abuses faced by Nigerian migrants in Libya, a country that has long served as a deadly transit point for those seeking to reach Europe illegally. Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, representing Kogi Central, moved an additional motion mandating the Nigerian Immigration Service and the Nigerian Correctional Service to liaise with Libyan authorities to expedite the release and repatriation of Nigerian female inmates and their children born in detention. And the motion, seconded by Senate Leader Opeyemi Bamidele, was unanimously adopted. Akpoti-Uduaghan decried the horrific experiences of the victims, most of whom were lured abroad under false promises of employment, only to be trafficked and later imprisoned. After escaping forced prostitution, and also cited reports indicating that about 1,000 Nigerians were repatriated from Libya in the first quarter of 2025 alone, with many survivors recounting harrowing ordeals of torture, sexual violence, and forced labor. The Senate referenced reports by Amnesty International and the International Organization for Migration documenting widespread abuses, including rape, arbitrary detention, and killings by both state and militia-run detention Libya centers in Libya. Senate has constituted a 12-member ad hoc committee to advise the legislature on how to address growing international concerns regarding allegations of state-supported persecution of Christians in Nigeria. The decision followed a closed-door session during which lawmakers deliberated on recent claims by the United States government suggesting possible acts of genocide targeting Christians in certain regions of the country. The Senate's action comes in the wake of discussions led by U.S. Senator Ted Cruz and other members of the U.S. Congress for Nigeria to be designated a country of particular concern over alleged religious persecution, and the newly constituted committee comprising Senators Victor Ome, Yemi Adaramodu, Anyekan Basi, Niyi Adebome, Abdul Ninji, Titus Zam, Tony Wonye, Tahea Monguno, and Asukwo Ekpenyong, among others. The panel has been mandated to produce a comprehensive position paper to be presented to both the executive and the Senate that will inform Nigeria's legislative stance on the issue and guide its participation in ongoing international engagement. Declaring the committee, Senate President Godswill Akpabio stressed the importance of grounding the documents in verifiable data, while earlier in plenary, the Senate resolved to engage directly with the U.S. Congress to address and counter what it described as inaccurate portrayals of Nigeria's security situation as an anti-Christian genocide. House of Representatives has declared plans to wade into the ongoing dispute between the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities in a bid to end the 2-week warning strike declared by the union on Monday. This followed a motion moved on Tuesday by a lawmaker representing Badagry Federal Constituency under the All Progressives Congress, Sesi Winga, that the intervention of the Green Chamber's leadership is aimed at finding a permanent resolution to the lingering industrial crisis that has crippled Nigeria's public university system for years. This is coming after ASU had on Monday commenced a 2-week nationwide warning strike after the expiration of a 14-day ultimatum issued to the federal government to meet its long-standing demands, and the union's first nationwide strike in nearly 3 years. The lecturers are demanding the implementation of the renegotiated 2009 ASU-FGN agreement, payment of withheld 3.5 months' salaries, revitalization of public universities, and sustainable funding of the tertiary education sector, including the payment of 25 to 35% salary arrears, promotion arrears spanning over 4 years, and the release of withheld cooperative deductions. The renegotiation of the 2009 agreement has been stalled since 2017, despite multiple committees set up by successive administrations. And in response to the strike, the Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, reportedly directed university vice-chancellors to enforce the government's no work, no pay policy for lecturers participating in industrial action, and the ongoing strike has already disrupted examinations in several universities nationwide, sparking renewed calls for urgent government action. Chairman of the Federal Civil Service Commission, Professor Tunji Olaupa, has called for his holistic review of the disciplinary control system as a necessary catalyst to drive culture change, value reorientation, and address the persistent delays in handling disciplinary matters within the system. A statement released on Tuesday by the Commission's head of press and public relations, Taiwo Hassan, said Olaupa spoke at a one-day joint retreat between the Commission and the Office of the Head of the Civil Service of the Federation and called for holistic review of disciplinary control in the civil service to drive deep-seated culture change, value reorientation, and reverse the delays handling of disciplinary in the service. He said the relationship between the two bodies could be likened to Siamese twins, given their shared roles in implementing policies, enforcing regulations, and providing leadership for the nation's civil service. He also stressed on the importance of rethinking the link between merit, competency-based human resource practices, performance management, and the wage of structure, adding that such integration was crucial to restoring the federal government's image as an employer of choice. Speaking earlier, the head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Esther Walsin-Jack, said the retreat represented a renewed partnership between the two bodies and a deliberate effort to deepen collaboration in service to Nigerians, and called for reform of civil service disciplinary control amid growing concerns over bureaucratic bottlenecks, delayed investigations, and perceived lack of accountability in the Nigerian public space. Former Anambra State Governor and 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi has criticized the All Progressives Congress-led federal government, saying no nation can truly rise when the majority of its people are trapped in poverty. Obi, in a post on X, formerly Twitter, on Tuesday, cited a recent World Bank that shows that about 139 million Nigerians are now living in poverty, a sharp increase from 87 million reported in 2023, when President Bola Tinubu assumed office, and also described the figure as a heartbreaking reflection of how deeply our nation is failing its citizens, adding that the situation should have triggered urgent national action rather than government rebuttals. He also said despite the fact that there are devastating revelations that could lead to an emergency and national discussion on how to effectively put millions of people out of poverty, the worsening economic reality contradicts government's claims of protesters through reforms, arguing that government's policies lack direction and needs a people-centered focus due to the lack of a clear plan and determination to channel the supposed gains into feasible and productive areas that will benefit the people and improve overall growth of the Nigerian people. Obi urged the government to adopt deliberate people-oriented reforms to prioritize production over consumption, support small businesses and farmers, and also invest in education and healthcare. In view of the crisis rocking the Labour Party, a resurgence has emerged after the former national chairman of the party, Barrister Julius Abure, and the factional national secretary, Omar Farouk Ibrahim, were cited attending the quarterly consultative meeting between political parties and the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. A picture of the duo attending the same meeting as Labour Party LP leaders was circulated by the faction's national publicity secretary, I beg your pardon, Obiora Ifo in Abuja on Tuesday. The meeting is a regular interface between the election management body and recognized chairmen and secretaries of political parties, and it was not immediately clear if the senators Nenadi Usman and Darlington Wokocha led interim national committee of the party are also in attendance. People's Democratic Party has postponed the 103rd National Executive Committee meeting earlier scheduled for Wednesday, October 15, 2025. A statement posted on X by its National Publicity Secretary, Debo Ologunaba, said the decision was taken by the National Working Committee at an emergency meeting held in Abuja that, in view of recent development in the party, the National Working Committee, in exercise of its power pursuant to Section 29, Paragraph 2B of the Constitution of the as amended in 2017, has at its emergency meeting on Monday, 20th October 2025, approved the postponement of the 103rd NEC meeting to a new date that will be communicated to members in due course. The party urged all NEC members to take note of the change and await further communication from the National Secretariat. In response, figures like the PDP Governors Forum Chairman and Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed have publicly vowed resilience and also declared that neither political defections nor any external force can stop the National Convention of the PDP slated to hold in Ibadan, Oyo State, between November 15 and 16. And now to our business news. Nigeria has secured another major boost to its gas sector as global energy giant Shell declared a $2 billion investment in the development of the Highfield, a shallow offshore non-associated gas project located in OML 144. The special advisor to President Bola Tinubu on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, who disclosed this in a statement issued on Tuesday in Abuja, said the project, which is expected to deliver about 350 million standard cubic feet of gas per day from 2028, which represents Nigeria's second major gas investment in 18 months and underscores renewed global confidence in the country's oil and gas industry under President Tinubu. The statement said the new project brings total upstream investments commitments through final investment decisions to over $8 billion since Tinubu assumed office in 2023, and also described the investment as another validation of its administration's energy sector reforms and the country's growing attractiveness to international investors. The presidency said the High project follows the Obeta non-associated gas projects and the Bonga North Deepwater developments, making it the third major oil and gas feed in 18 months. Adding that the High and Obeta projects are expected to supply up to 15% of the NLNG's total feed gas requirements across trains 1 to 7. The special advisor to the president on energy, Olu Arowolo Vehejen, said the project was made possible by the administration's targeted reforms, including Presidential Directive 40, which introduced a competitive fiscal framework for onshore and shallow offshore gas projects, adding that it remains committed to creating an enabling environment that encourages as local and foreign investments, as well as positioning Nigeria as a competitive player in the global gas market. And now to our international tidbits. 3 police officers were killed and a dozen people injured in Italy overnight after an explosion in a house destroyed valuables during an attempted eviction. Firefighters said on Tuesday that a brother and sister in their 60s were arrested and a third family member fled, while the house in Castel Diazzano, near Verona, was filled with gas and the explosion was triggered even when the front door was opened during the overnight operation. It said the police had been trying to evict the 3 siblings who had previously threatened to blow themselves up, while Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni led tributes to the victims. Victims whose bodies were extracted from the rubble of the house, and she was following developments. Firefighters in a statement on X said 12 law enforcement officers and a civilian woman were injured. Transport and services in Greece were disrupted Tuesday for the second time this month as unions staged a 24-hour walkout against government plans to introduce an optional 13-hour workday. Protesters said the mobilization will shut down public and municipal services and paralyze ferries and trains, but flights are unaffected, while urban transport in Athens will also operate on reduced hours. Protests are scheduled in Athens and other major cities during the day. Super Eagles have won the 2026 World Cup qualification against the Cheetahs of the Benin Republic at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium, Uyo. In a post on Super Eagles X handle on Tuesday, the Eagles declared 4 changes from their previous win over Lesotho, with Wilfred Ndidi named captain of the game. The Nigeria Football Federation also confirmed that Moses Simon will make his 85th international appearance, while Victor Osimhen partners Akor Adams in attack. As the match kicked off, Victor Osimhen scored in the 3rd minute courtesy of an assist from Samuel Chukwueze, and in the 38th minute, Osimhen doubles the lead courtesy of another Samuel Chukwueze's cross into the box. It is now 2-0 in favor of the Super Eagles, and again, the Super Eagles forward hits a hat-trick in the 51st minute. The Super Eagles come knocking on the Cheetahs' door again in the hunt for a 4th goal, but the effort was wasted by Wilfred Ndidi in the 68th minute. And that's the global news for tonight. Before we go, another look at the major stories. Fubara urges capacity building for core members in Rivers. Tinubu writes Senate for confirmation of new INEC chairman. Reps plan to end ASU FG face-off. Nigeria secures $2 billion shale gas project. Gas explosion kills 3 police officers in Italy. Nigeria Super Eagles stop burning with 4 goals. Taylor speaks on film and song debut. I am Francis. Thank you for watching. You can follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter at Atlantic TV Net, Facebook and YouTube at Atlantic Television Network, on Instagram at Atlantic TV Network. Remember, peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you for watching.